group. Uh, Good, and recording is started perfectly. Welcome everyone to our additional meetings. Today we're going to discuss pretty interesting topic. This is a development portal, and we're going to discuss the specific experience which Alexander is having. He have implement this development portal, and today we will see what kind of challenges he have faced, how he was working with this project, and I hope that in the end we will have a chance to have a short demo, live demo, to understand how it's working. Before we will start, I briefly remind you about our process. During the meeting, you can post your question into the chat. We will do a moderation of this question. Definitely all questions will be answered. If we will not have enough time to answer for the whole question during the presentation or in the end of the presentation, the question will be answered on our portal where we will share our video. And once again, the video will be shared with a short moderation, removing any kind of pauses and so on. Looks like we are ready and we can start. Alexander, please take your stage.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan. Oh, hello, colleagues. My name is Alexander Reshetnik. I'm from Ukraine, Vinnytsia. I'm part of APIM community. Now I works as global integration discipline head. And during my work with the APIM community, my main focus was dev portal development. Also, I focused on Apigee, REST API, and MuleSoft related solution on integrations, but probably my favorite projects are related to dev portals. I'm in the APIM community, I suppose, about 8 years, and I just completed one more dev portal project for the company from insurance industry. I still cannot name the company. Actually, I'm not sure that I can name this company. Before that, for example, I completed the dev portal for Ticketmaster. I can name it because it was interesting experience. It was open source project. It also was a Drupal-based dev portal for Apigee. And today I wish to share my experience how we did the portal for Apigee with Drupal again. And the main reason why customer need some extended dev portal for Apigee, because usually customers start with integrated dev portal on Apigee. And at some moment, they faced many limitations, many issues with integrated dev portal. And then they try to find a way to extend his developer experience and build something new. Okay, what I would like to present today. Today, I will describe our process of gathering requirements from customer. We will discuss capabilities that we considered for implementation. Also, I will focus on NFRs for the portals. Sometimes it's really important because mostly this NFRs comes from internal customers' infrastructure limitations, from some specific customers' requirements, and usually such requirements bring more pain to the project. Also, I will describe architecture that we got, and we will review some result, lessons learned, and what we got as a result. First of all, let's discuss what is dev portal, what the specific thing about this kind of websites. So Dev portal, it is not usual site. It's a website for experienced customers. And the main goal of Dev portal, it's integration of some external developers community with some internal customers, technical people. Uh, Sometimes it's just exposing some valuable internal assets of a customer. But anyway, the main goal of the Dev portal to make process of onboarding of new APIs, of new applications from customer to some external communities or partners easy and quick. And usually the Dev portal is only part of bigger solution, part of some API governance or API strategy. And our Dev portal track, we started with some review of required capabilities for this specific customer. And we started our conversation with presentation of some simplified capabilities map. We mapped main capabilities, main features that may be required on the Dev portal to the customer and discussed all this and focused on building of prioritized backlog. So first of all, the main focus of the Dev portal is some documentation. It's probably the main product that should be presented on the Dev portal. Also, Dev portal should present some self-management capabilities that will allow external developers to manage his external applications, API integrations. More advanced portals propose some capabilities for integration with DevOps ecosystem of external developers or integration with some external API tools. And also the Dev portal will be some point of contact, the first place where external developers will try to get support and help in case of issues. And usually content on the Dev portal should be changed very quickly and often. And probably the most valuable thing for customer in the Dev portal solution in this case is a good content management system. So probably for all these cases, Drupal may be the best answers if you try to find some solution. In parallel for this simplified map, we had some internal, more extended map of capabilities, different variation, different types. And during our work with customer, we market some priorities. We try to add some invariants of capabilities after discussion with customer. So finally, we got some specific map for this specific customer. I will show it later how it looks. And also during our conversation with customer, we were focused not only on capabilities, but also on some bad cases, on some anti-patterns that we wish to avoid. I have no idea how to remove this bar, but I hope it will disappear later. Okay, and also we discussed it with our customer, what we are trying to avoid during our Dev portal journey. And this is very important point during requirement clarification, because the portal is very specific kind of websites, and many responsibility on success of such projects is on customer side, because only customer is an expert in this area. Only customer may provide valuable content for the dev portal. You can implement really good solution, really good engine, but without good content, without interesting stories, interesting cases, it will not attract your external developers and will be not very helpful. So with our customer, we had really big number of stakeholders, and we introduced some process of stakeholders management. And also we clarified this process with our customer to make it clear how we work, what we expect from customer. And as a result, we got some final map, final list of requirements. And before we started development, we got at least some partial sign-off for this scope of requirements, and we get some initial vision of what we are planning to build, because the portal is a really complex case, and not always customer can present some holistic view, some whole view of solutions that he need to build. And as a result, we prepared some stakeholder map, and we worked together with customer on this map and identified the most valuable stakeholders. Actually, we are trying to find people and groups that are interested in the portal, and we planned to involve these people in our process and make them like our partners during our portal building. And as a result, we proposed to customers some final capability map. When we presented our capabilities with some additional details, with these capabilities were sized at least with t-shirt style, and we were able to define our initial scope, some kind of MVP, because for customer often it's really important to get some quick result. So the general idea was that we can build MVP, and this MVP will be release ready. It will be some valuable assets that may be provided to external developers, and after that we may continue our development feature by feature and do our regular releases. Also, for every capability, we prepared some initial canvas. So this canvas helps to understand our vision on this capability, our understanding how the value of this capability, and what we plan to get in result. And this canvas cards were some start point for our BA team, and then our BA works with customer to extend this vision presented on Canvas and get specific requirements for implementation by developers team. And as a result, we got our initial dev portal map. So this is to start development, we need to have at least some draft vision, and later it may be restructured. And if you build your portal with some content management system, this process of structure change will be easier for you. In case if you are building some custom solution, you should pay more attention on initial structure and avoid these changes later. But in general, this structure had some common parts. First of all, we had account management part, so different pages for user to manage his profile, to manage his assets, some service pages. Also, we had API catalog, this part dedicated for documentation. Also, it's very important to have some kind of general documentation like getting started, or it might be some another name, but in addition to API catalog, you need to have some article, some part of documentation that describes your general idea, your ecosystem, to help your users understand your assets, your systems. So in our case, we had getting started, platform overview. These two sections were added to add some more context about these APIs and applications available for users. Also, in addition to API catalog, just like a list of APIs, customer requires another presentation of APIs in form of API products. So they planned to deliver not only single APIs, but product as some kind of bundle of APIs and capabilities for end user. And in the final result, API catalog part was removed completely, and we had only API product part. Also, very important section on the dev portal, it's support. And you can avoid this section during start of your portal, but if you have some complex ecosystems, many APIs, you really need this section later, because user needs some place to solve their issues, to ask questions, and so on and so forth. And if you really need communication with your users, you can add some sections to community supports like news, blogs, success stories, some kind of events. But it also may be avoided during start of your portal on MVP phase. So it was our portal structure. When we confirmed the structure, our design team started research to propose the better user experience for the end user. So they reviewed many different existing portals, selected the best available options, and they started build a unique user and developer experience for this portal. And probably the complex things during this work that our design team tried to make some kind of state-of-art product, but our customer had some internal design guidelines, some corporate style, and they refused many interesting ideas, many design solutions proposed. So probably the lessons learned from this stage is to clarify with customer before massive investment in this process, clarify expectation. If they really expect some kind of state-of-art user experience and they ready to implement it, or they have some internal limitations, some corporate guidelines that also need to be respected. But in general, our design was very interesting, but to prod, we got slightly limited version of that. Yeah. Also, our customer had many specific NFRs, and it also important part during the process of requirement clarifications, because usually if you have some big customer with some stable infrastructure already, they have many specific NFRs that come from internal infrastructure, from some legacy solutions. So this NFRs may be really strange for you, but you need to follow it, and you cannot avoid it. It may slow down you or add more pain to your project, but it's real requirement from these customers that you need to follow it. For example, in our case, we had such limitations. We were limited only with Google Cloud Provider Cloud. Actually not very bad limitation, but we had limited database tool like PostgreSQL. One more interesting limitation, we need to use only Bitnami-based Docker images, and later it made a lot of issues in our case because Bitnami doesn't have specific Drupal image, so we need to build Bitnami Drupal image from scratch. It was a really long process. Our DevOps spent about 3 or 4 weeks for building and debugging this image. Also, the interesting thing about infrastructure that it was a Kubernetes cluster only. So we need to use some hybrid infrastructure solution based on Kubernetes engine. And probably that's all about some interesting NFR from this customer. But this hybrid infrastructure and requirements about Bitnami Docker image made a lot of sleepless nights for our team. So the general idea to pay more attention to this NFR when you start. And actually, we had really brilliant team. So let me tell about our team before we go to our architecture. So we had a really good architecture team. It was Oscar Lifshitz, Nikolai Chesalin, Mo Amin, Colin Yasino. And our portal was part of bigger solution of big API strategy for this customer. And for implementation, we had really talent DevOps guy, Jan Masagin. He implemented many customer-specific things with this architecture. And also we had really brilliant Drupal developers that customized Drupal solution for this customer. It were Oleg Vlachno and Bogdan Horb. Okay, let's get back to our solution. So we had some kind of baseline architecture for our solution. So customer already had Apigee integrated dev portal, and this portal was integrated with Apigee. Also, one interesting thing, customer developed his API specification in Stoplight, and it also was integrated with this integrated portal. So when some API specification was updated, GitLab CI pushed this update to Apigee and to integrated portal and updated the documentation. Our goal was implement similar solution also. Okay, and our simple goal was just replace integrated portal with Drupal application. And on project start, we had some really long period of technical solution selection, and it was really complex decision to use Drupal. Actually, from our point of view, Drupal was the best choice for this project because we got content management, we got Apigee Kickstart, the model with already implemented API management functional integrated with Apigee. But for our customer, Drupal was a new unknown tool. They didn't have Drupal team at all. But we presented our decision process, and Drupal had many advantages. So in the end, customer agreed to use Drupal. Okay, let's move on. And let's review in details solution based on Drupal. This is some high-level view. So maybe the biggest challenge in this architecture based on Drupal was to run Drupal in high availability mode. So our goal was to run several instances of Drupal, but we need to synchronize content on these instances. And if this content is pretty easy because all these Drupal instances were connected to one PostgreSQL database. The bigger issue was file system synchronization, because if we don't have a shared file system, we may have such case when some assets uploaded to one Drupal instance, and these assets links to these assets added to the database, but these assets not available on another Drupal instance. But we could use file store as a shared file system. For this solution, it was approved on customer side. So we did this shared file system with file store, but as alternative to file store, any other NFS may be used. Yeah, let's review parts of this architecture in details. So First of all, we have integration of Drupal with Apigee, and also we have this CI integration from Stoplight to Drupal. And Stoplight need to push API specification updates to Drupal. And very good thing about Drupal is that Drupal has many different models and almost everything implemented in these models. And if you even need something specific, you can implement it in form of a new model. And for some external content management, I mean, in system-to-system integration for content management, Drupal allows you several options. You can allow external system to work with your content with some API. You can install entity API model on Drupal and allow this content management via REST API. So in this way, external GitLab CI was able to push documentation and API specification to our Drupal instances. One more thing for our Drupal integration was integration with some existing systems in customer ecosystem. So, for example, we need to use Datadog for logs and monitoring, and Datadog allows you to install some sidecar agent, and Drupal also may be integrated with this sidecar and push logs to Datadog. And the integration with other parts are pretty obvious, so you can connect any mail service, database, or file storage. Also, we consider it using cloud storage for some static assets and memory store for cache. And our CI/CD was organized also with GitLab CI. Every change in our application produced some new container image. We pushed it to registry and deployed to Kubernetes cluster as a set of new instances. Yeah, and probably the main part of our system on Drupal was Apigee developer portal Kickstart. This is a special model from Apigee. So he may be integrated with Apigee Edge or Apigee X. And this model has many capabilities required for dev portal out of the box. First of all, you have role-based access system. You have your documentation, your API catalog, you have some pre-built Drupal theme. And actually, from scratch, you have already working portal, and if you don't need something specific, if you follow some out-of-the-box Apigee flow, it may be enough, and you may focus only on some specific user experience, on some additional customization, but anyway, you have everything required from scratch. But if you have some specific requirements, if you plan to do many customization to this Apigee Kickstart, you may consider an option to build your Drupal portal and build some specific model for integration with Apigee, because actually this Kickstart model is big and complex, and this may be an issue to customize it in some cases. Maybe you will need some specific patterns for your case during implementation. Also, in case if content management it's not the key feature that you need, you may consider an option to implement your dev portal even without Drupal or any other content management system. But for our customer, content management was a key feature, I suppose, and probably implementation without some Bootstrap, without some Kickstart may need really more time. Actually, we got our working portal with this Apigee Kickstart in, I believe, in 2 months. Okay, let's review some custom features that were implemented in addition to this Apigee Kickstart. So, first of all, customer required some specific concept of product catalog. So the idea that you have not just the API catalog like a list of APIs, you have list of products, and every product has a list of APIs inside, and different products may have same APIs. And also the idea of products that you may go and create your application and select required product during creation. Also, customer required some specific things for organization and application management. So, for example, process of application creation was not just API call to Apigee. It was some additional back office application that verified request, and later application was created for this user. Also, customer required some custom SSO integration with Auth 0. It was really some customer solution because it was non-standard SSO protocol. We customized existing SSO model to meet customer requirements, and actually it worked. Also, interesting requirements from this customer was to get some additional reporting capabilities, and actually it was not implemented during this project stage, but we just planned this part. But probably this is some usual requirements from customers, and maybe the good idea try to remove some analytics, some reporting capabilities from dev portal scope and implement it as some custom data projects with special tools like Tableau or Power BI.
Alex, sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting. I'm afraid we can be out of time. If you don't mind, maybe we can do following, to do a short demo of portal and go through the pictures what you're just describing right now.
Yeah, okay, I will continue, switch to demo and describe these things. Okay, actually this is not our customer's website. This is some version of portal in our EPAM environment. I removed our customer labels. So actually, this is some simplified UX according to customer corporate guidelines. But in general, Probably the main part of the portal is homepage part. This is some start point, and for example, this customer expected later some dynamic content on this page specific for every user. But anyway, this is the main page, and he need to propose a user a way to go to other the most important parts of the portal. So first of all, we had getting started page. Actually, all content, all articles have very simple structure in our case. This is just rich text HTML. And also we have this left menu to switch between pages. But Drupal is content management system, so you can build a specific template, a specific page of any complexity. But to avoid some bad patterns in UX, we tried to get really similar look and feel, similar user experience in all cases. Probably some important pages don't have some menu just to focus our customer, our user on the content of the page. Another important part of this portal is this specific product catalog, and the interesting thing about this catalog is that every product has some overview section that you may add any content to this section, or actually you can add any number of articles to this level. And then you have your list of APIs. And this project was implemented with stoplight templater. So it converts your Swagger API specification into this stoplights elements UI. Actually, you can go to stoplights elements and you can use this UI on your websites also. But it was a slightly complex part of our project because there is no ready model for integration of Drupal and stoplights. But actually, stoplights elements really interesting UI for Swagger representation, and probably for now this is the most beautiful, and it has many different additional functions. Yeah.
I'm sorry, is it possible to do a test call from this page?
I'm not sure that we have some backend for this page. Actually, I suppose no.
But it was planned in the beginning. Is it correct?
Yeah, actually, on our customer portal that we delivered, it works, and we may have a call and got a response. But for this demo, we just loaded some actually not working APIs. It's you see HTTP in org and. I'm not sure. Oh, I see that the issue that we didn't set up course settings for this portal, so we cannot do this call from this web page. But you need to don't forget these settings on your Drupal admin to allow your documentation works directly with your backend. But in general, it's a really common feature. Almost every portal has this feature of communication of your API documentation with API to get some examples. Okay. One more key part of every portal is self-management system. When you have your list of your APIs, and actually not list of APIs, list of application, but application, it's I don't like this name in API management because actually application nothing than just credentials that you created for work with some API. And in this case, when you create new application, you assign this application credentials with some set of products. And these credentials allows you to work with these products. And usually products have some limitation on usage. So to get more traffic, you need to buy more expensive products. So usually you have different plans in case if this is some kind of monetization. But usually to get more traffic, you just need to work directly with asset owner to get bigger quota for your key. And usually in this API management self-service, you can list your applications, rotate credentials, work with some analytics for your applications. So review your response message count, errors for your application. Yeah. And
maybe a few words about the statistics. How are you getting the statistics?
Actually, it's a built-in feature of Apigee Kickstart. So in Apigee gathers statistics for every user, every application. And in this case, you just make a REST API call to Apigee to get data and build some graph to show for your user. Unfortunately, I cannot build this graph now because we don't have this data for this application, but you just get some graph according to selected timeline.
Okay, does it mean that you can get any statistics what Apigee is exposing?
Actually, yes, it's just a REST API call, and you can implement some additional tabs, additional cases, and gather all required statistics from Apigee or any other provided. But out of the box, in Apigee Kickstart, we have only these 5 dimensions that you can select for your specific application and get this graph. But frankly, it's not enough, and we had several stories in our backlog to extend these analytic capabilities. Yeah. Okay, and also we had some extended user profile features for this project because some out-of-the-box profile was not enough because we need to synchronize this profile with SSO system and with Apigee. And regards appearance and structure, Drupal is very powerful. You have a lot of things, a lot of parameters to tune, and you can prepare and switch different appearances for your project. So for example, you can build one appearance for your internal site and another appearance for your external version of site, and it's also not a big deal. Yeah, and probably we can go to some lessons learned, or you have more additional questions?
Please do.
Okay, I will not go over all these things. I believe you can watch recording later for details, but I focus on main things to get the result that will satisfy your customer and your user. You really need to focus on your stakeholders and manage your customer, because in our case we had such issues that some manager responsible for our projects was changed several times, and some focus on customer expectations was lost. And finally, our result that we got was not aligned with expectation of the last manager responsible for this project. So the person that started project expected some minimalistic site with focus on capabilities. The last person expected some beautiful site with rich content, with some interesting stories, but the thing that all these contents may be produced only on customer side, but our development team was focused only on development and on technical things. Drupal is really good option for high availability solution, but Drupal is really old platform, and he has some internal old issues, and you need some expert team for Drupal to fight with these legacy issues. For example, we got some issue with internal Drupal cache, and we need to fix this cache management system because our site was slower than expected, about in 5 times. And Apigee Kickstart is really good solution if you dev portal based on Apigee and you need to follow some standard Apigee flow. But if this is something really custom and you need Apigee only as credential management system and as a proxy system, you may consider to develop something really custom and work with Apigee, with Apigee API, because changing of Apigee Kickstart also not very easy process. It's some old legacy code, has some defects and maybe an issue. And probably that's all about my story. Maybe you have some additional questions.
Good, especially in the right time. Looks like I don't see any question in the chat, guys. If you have any
I
question,
see Sandeep hand.
Sandeep, you can unmute yourself.
No, I just put clap.
Oh, thank you very much, Sandeep.
It doesn't work like Teams. I'll connect with you later. Thanks for session.
Thank you. So, colleagues, thank you very much for your time. We will do a recording and we will share this recording on our channel. In case if you will get any new questions, please feel free to ask this question, and definitely we will support you. Thank you, colleagues.